Discipline is the only skill required to accomplish any other skill. My name is Muhammad Al-Andalusi. I am the founder of AndalusInstitute.com, and people know me for different things. Some know me because I went from not knowing Arabic at all
very good man
to learning Arabic in 10 months.
المسلم العاقل المؤمن هو الذي يتبع ويتمسك بكتاب الله عز وجل والسنة النبوية.
Then I completed 4 years of Islamic high school in Egypt, entirely in Arabic in just 2 years, attending all the exams and passing them. Some know me because in less than 2 years I memorized more than half of the Qur'an. Some know me because I went from overweight and being undisciplined to shredded with abs. Some know me because I went from broke to buying my mom a house with a swimming pool in cash. Alhamdulillah, and all praises are due to Allah. But none of these happened because I'm special. And none of it happened because I had more motivation than you. It happened because I learned one skill. Al-indibat. Discipline. And discipline is not a personality trait. It's a system. If your system is broken, you will keep collapsing, even if your intentions are pure, even if you love Allah, even if you want to memorize the Qur'an, even if you want to learn Arabic, even if you want to be on your salah, even if you want to have strong Iman. If you don't understand these, you will keep losing years without knowing why. This is not a motivational video. Every point that I will teach you here builds on the one before it, and is information I wish I know 13 years ago. So don't skip. Pay attention if you want to change your life. Let's start with the first truth. Motivation always dies. Once you understand why discipline actually works the way it does, everything you have been blaming yourself for will finally start to actually make sense. Part 1 of this video is why motivation always dies. Let's start with motivation. Now, motivation is emotional energy. It comes from inspiration, from guilt, from fear, from being excited, from pain. Biologically speaking, motivation is driven by dopamine. Dopamine is not the chemical of discipline. It's the chemical of anticipation. This is why motivation spikes when you watch an Islamic lecture or a video like this one, or you attend a conference, or you see someone memorizing the Qur'an, now you want to memorize it as well. You see someone being fluent in the Arabic language, now you want to do Arabic. But the problem is that dopamine is short-lived. Researchers in neuroscience shows that dopamine spikes before action, not during the sustained effort of you trying to accomplish the thing, like memorizing the Qur'an or learning Arabic or going to the gym, but rather when you are getting yourself ready to do so, you're excited, you go, that, then first task that you start doing in that action, it starts to die off. So once discomfort begins, dopamine drops, and this is why you feel motivated at night. You're planning your schedule for the next day. You promise yourself, tomorrow I will do something. And then when effort starts, motivation disappears. And now all of a sudden it's hard. Now, before we go any further, I need to tell you something important. If you are watching this before the 27th of December, 2025, on the 27th of December, we'll be hosting something called the Live Reset. It's a live virtual event. So everything that has to do with discipline, consistency, and why you keep falling off, we are going to take all of that and apply it live, step by step. It's not a motivational thing. It's not a lecture, but it's a practical virtual event. So you get to your 2026 and start with structure. So Islam already told us this truth without neuroscience. Allah did not tell us in the Qur'an, the one who feels motivated will succeed. Allah said, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. He says, as for the one who fears to stand before his Lord, the day of judgment, when he's going to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, and restrains his soul from desires. So this action is intentional. You restrain your soul from desires. You grab your nafs by the neck. So this is not motivation, it's restraint. Motivation always dies because it was never meant to carry you. It's the spark but it's not the actual engine while your motor is actually moving. Discipline is the ability to remain in discomfort long enough for growth to take place. Discipline is the ability to remain in discomfort long enough for growth to take place without negotiating with your nafs. So the key word here is how long, in simple terms, can you do something even though it's uncomfortable, remembering that that thing will get you X result, which is growth. So for example, if you're in the gym, for how long can you hold your hunger, for example, knowing that your calories, that you don't have any more calories and that you are waiting for your food in the night? Or for how long can you how many reps can you do more? Or for how long can you sit down and repeat this page of the Qur'an until you memorize it? Or for how long are you going to be attending this lesson of Arabic, even though it's hard and it's tiring to the nafs and you don't want to go? For how long are you going to be able to do this? How consistent, without negotiating with your nafs? It doesn't matter. We don't care about how tired you are today, how sad you are, how financially constrained you are. None of that matters. What matters is for how long and what is your ability level to remain in discomfort long enough, knowing that growth from that thing that you are having patience upon for the growth to happen. That's what discipline is. So now let's go into part number 2 of this video and why discipline is not a personality trait. Now, one of the biggest lies of modern self-help, self-development culture is the idea that some people are disciplined and others are not disciplined. And this is false biologically and psychologically, because discipline is not a personality trait, is a trained response to discomfort. And studies in behavioral psychology show that people labeled as disciplined, they just simply experience less friction. They have fewer temptations, if you want to put it like that, or they operate in structured environments. So in other words, they are in an environment that does all the heavy lifting for them. But if you put a so-called disciplined person in a chaotic environment with constant notifications, no routine, no accountability, no spiritual grounding, and they try to be that disciplined person, you will see that they will collapse like everyone else. And this is exactly why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he raised and gave tarbiyah to the Sahaba, not in chaos, but rather in a place of structure, with fixed prayers 5 times a day, every day, fixed routines around worship, family, community, and clear obligations with clear boundaries, clear accountability. And this is one of the reasons as well why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did hijrah to Medina, to be in a better environment where Muslims are not being attacked. So Islam did not produce discipline by personality, it produced discipline by systems. And this is where something very important needs to be understood. Islam itself is designed to create a disciplined environment around you. Islam does not just tell you be strong. Islam doesn't just tell you have high Iman. Islam removes weakness before it starts. This is why Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Qur'an, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, for example, and don't even get close, don't come close to a zina. He doesn't say don't talk to gyal. He doesn't say don't go to this environment where there's the opposite gender or, free mix and so on. But rather, it says remove the environment that leads to it. And this is why Islam tells you to lower your gaze, not because, looking is the end goal, but because looking destroys restraint and it makes it more difficult. So what is the proverb? The proverb again in English? What the eyes can't see, you can't remember, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. So that is why Islam warns as well things like debt, because debt from amongst the social aspect and level problems that it causes as well personal problems like anxiety, like pressure, like loss of control over your life because you are anxious and you can't think straight because you are emotional, you are stressed. And that is why Islam regulates as well food, to eat with 1/3 for food, 1 for liquid, 1 for air, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said. Likewise, sleep. وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا, as Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Qur'an. Speech, man كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whoever believes in Allah Azza wa Jalla in the last day, let him say good or remain silent. Likewise with company. Now the Prophet ﷺ, he said, المرء على دين خليله فانظر من تخالل, أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Now that the person is upon the religion of his companion, so be careful who you take as a companion. Likewise with time. Now اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس, as the Prophet ﷺ said in the known hadith, take advantage of 5 things before 5 things. And he mentioned the 5 things. So that is why Islam puts salah at specific times, not when you feel like it. Because Allah Azza wa Jal, being the creator of this creature, which is the human being, understands something that modern psychology or modern studies is only catching up to right now. Discipline is environmental, not emotional. Islam builds an environment where discipline becomes natural. You are disciplined by default when your surroundings are correct. But here's the problem today. You are trying to practice Islam inside of an environment that Islam was never designed for. So there is endless dopamine, constant stimulation, infinite scrolling. There is cheap pleasure everywhere. You go outside and you see what you shouldn't be seeing. So now salah feels heavy. Qur'an feels difficult. And memorizing it and understanding it and pondering on it and sitting with it for 1, 2, 3 hours. Arabic feels exhausting. Lowering the gaze feels impossible. Not because Islam is heavy, not because you are weak, but because your dopamine system is broken. Your nervous system is overstimulated. And this brings us directly to the next point, which is why modern life destroys consistency. So let's get into part 3 of this video. Why modern life destroys consistency. Because if you pay attention, this is the real enemy. Modern life is the anti-discipline by design. Socially and technically, everything around you is engineered for maximum stimulation, for maximum ads everywhere. Just a few years back, 100 years back, when I talked to my parents, there was no ads of underwear by Calvin Klein and all of these underwear ads with women naked. They weren't using naked women to promote cars or things that don't have nothing to do with a woman being naked on the ad. Everything is made for you to put minimum effort into doing the thing. There is constant novelty for everything. Your phone is a dopamine weapon that is literally in your hands. Sometimes even the first thing that you grab as soon as you wake up in the morning. And there is researches by Stanford and MIT, which is one of the most respected scientific institutions in the world, that show that constant dopamine stimulation lowers attention span. So it makes you dumber. You can't focus on anything that requires your attention. With everything that requires growth will require your attention. So you are always stuck on the average level of yourself. You can never go to the next version of yourself. Likewise, dopamine, it increases avoidance of effort. You don't want to do anything that you need to put effort into it. And this is why reading the Qur'an feels heavy. And this is why learning the Arabic language, actually completing that book that you started or that you're thinking of starting, or actually making the action of signing up for Andalus Institute, for example, this is why it feels heavy. It feels hard. And if you are in the process itself, it feels overwhelming. Sitting with books feels painful. Not because you are weak, but because your nervous system is overstimulated. And Islamically, this makes perfect sense. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Qur'an, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, that man was created weak. Meaning, if you place weak creation inside of a corrupt system, collapse is inevitable. So modern life removes silence, it removes boredom, it removes reflection time, presence. And without those, discipline cannot survive. This is why people say, I don't know why I can stay consistent anymore. It's not a mystery. Your environment is draining your willpower before you even start. Now let's get into the last part of this video and what discipline actually is in Islam. Discipline in Islam is not hype. It's not, nice self-talk, which is part of it as well, but not like the modern self-development gurus, they put it. It's not motivation that you listen to in the morning and then you're motivated and now all of a sudden magically you're able to be a righteous Muslim. But discipline is having taqwa applied daily. And taqwa means awareness of Allah Azza wa Jal. It means fear of consequence of the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. It means conscious restraint, like intentionally grabbing your nafs by the neck and being its boss. Not your nafs being your boss and dictating what you do and what you don't do. And this is why Arabic, Qur'an, discipline, and Iman are interconnected. Arabic gives you access to the Qur'an and knowledge. Knowledge is strength and strengthens your Iman. Iman strengthens restraint, being able to control yourself. And restraint and control creates discipline. And then discipline is sustained by knowledge. So you see, is a loop. And the mistake most Muslims make is trying to fix the last part without fixing the foundation. They want the consistency, but they don't want the structure, and they don't put the structure together. They want the results, but there's no systems. And Islam never worked like that. So the biggest tool that you can have and acquire to be the most disciplined Muslim is knowledge. And this is why Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Qur'an, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. That rather those who truly fear Allah Azza wa Jalla, those who truly have fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla are the scholars. Those who truly have fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla are the scholars. We're not saying, the average person that doesn't have knowledge doesn't have fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla, but the true fear, that fear that allows you to control yourself 100%, those who have it are the scholars. And if you pay attention, what do scholars have that the average person doesn't have? Is knowledge. So knowledge is what will give you that ultimate level of taqwa. And if you are watching this before the 27th of December 2025, you have the chance to still sign up for the live reset by clicking the link in the first description of this video. It's a virtual event which we will have the chance to hopefully fix together your 2026 and start the year with this foundation. It's a virtual event. It's for free. It's not hype, but actually what I want to do is give you the structure and give you the things that will allow you to fix your environment, your habits, your focus, your Iman. Because once structure is correct, discipline becomes natural. You stop fighting yourself. You stop blaming yourself. You stop, just feeling like you are weak, and you start progressing. And that is the goal, to progress little by consistently. You are not broken. Your system is. Once you fix the system, inshallah, the next version of yourself awaits for you on the other side.